You guys can hear me better, right? You can hear me, yeah? Hello? Can you hear me? Yeah, okay, good. All right, we're back. Yes, sir. All right. All right. Well, let's see. I haven't been keeping up with today. I haven't been keeping up with the intel. How do we do? How's the economy? The last I looked, the market was. Let me just check. It's starting to go south. Okay, so what happened? So the market is going down, right? So that could be an interesting. Promises to be an interesting day in that respect. Oh man, my camera is just like. Well, it's good at night. At least it works at night. But it's really it's fancy, you know, you get into this high-tech stuff. Looks like a painting. Yeah, it's really nice. I just have to figure out how to get my camera to like show how beautiful it is. What you just did, white lightning painting, yeah. Just a good sound. Good sound, yeah. Good, and the view is okay. I just, you know, I'm just trying to get this camera. It'll take a little while. But all is good. Carpeting, that's a good business. 37 years, nice. Not an easy gig, but it pays the bills, right? All right, let's see if we can now. Would it help to go up? Yeah, I think it would a little bit. But I'm not gonna, I don't think I should really sweat it so much. Going back to my boxes, man, I was hoping to get rid of this idea of having to use a box. But, you know, hey, everything is good. Everything is a process, and we will get there eventually. That looks totally lopsided. Oh, I know, I promise. Okay. All right. Sorry for the shenanigans. Okay, so yeah, sexy chair, yeah. See-through chair, right? Yeah, it's a great chair, man. I mean, and it goes up and down. I can get it to go up a little bit so I can get into the picture. You know, it's a lot of adjustments. It's that's the way life is, right? On the Peloton. All right, so let's get to it. Let's get right to it. It's Friday. We made it FRY Day. I would not be surprised. I've been expecting a major market crash on Friday for the last 6 months. So here's the deal. I mean, this is the basic idea that the crash has to happen while JB is still in office. So they have to do it soon, because how much longer can this guy hang on there? He's toast. I mean, he's toast with peanut butter. I mean, he's done. He's gone. Hey Brian. He has to go. So, and the economy has to crash before they really go crazy with the Declass. I mean, the Declass is going to be insane. And I don't know if you keep up with the Intel channels, but I sent you a video. This guy is saying like, it's going to be amazing and it's going to be soon. they're going to have to do everything. It's just, you know, it could be days away, weeks away. I don't know, but it's close enough. Okay, what's this? Let me look at this. Okay, so it says chatter exploding. Change of narrative will be required. Hammer Time video release at noon Eastern Standard Time. Public to awaken. Mass start. Sleeping pill reject. Operation Mockingbird failure. Fake to real. Blind 2020 kill chain. Where we go one, we go all. So that's pretty solid. That's a 5-year delta. Okay, that's a 5-year delta. That is January 27th. Where's the year? I don't see the year. But it's okay, so I'll have to take their word. It's 5 years. That must be 2018. January 27, 2018. Chatter exploding. Change of narrative will be required. -4, -5. Public to awaken. Mass start. Sleeping pill reject. Operation Mockingbird failure. Fake to real. Blind 2020 kill chain. Where we go one, we go all. I have to remember when that is there, I think that my mind says, okay, nobody can see me now. And so I'm scratching under my arm and everything else. But you're seeing me the whole time, right? Even though I'm looking at a post here. Okay, so refuelers back. Okay, there's a lot of intel. Good Friday morning, Patriots. A great day for some serious disclosure and justice. 409 military aircraft currently on transponders, and it's only 10:30 a.m. 10 recon, surveillance, anti-submarine warfare intelligence, surveillance, recon, all kinds of stuff in the air. E3, primary aerial command and control aircraft. All right, so I'm not going to, while we were sleeping, here are the states. Between 8 p.m. last evening and 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time this morning, 1,359 military aircraft were on transponders, 215 being classified as trainers, 43 recon, surveillance up, 91 refuelers, 201 cargos, 194 Black Hawks, a lot of refuelers up for time frame and time of night for us, as well as Black Hawks. A lot of cargo movement still. New floating triggers emergency in Auckland washes out Elton John. Okay, I don't know what that is about. The de-Nazification UN Charter that I think everything that Mr. P is doing is totally legal. Right, because he is allowed, he is allowed, in particular, the use of military force against these countries is allowed. To do this, you need only notify the other 3 winning countries, but not seek their consent. The country R, as the legal successor to the USSR, can also use force against countries that want to overtake the Yalta-Potsdam system in Europe. Russia can stop attempts to revive the N in Germany, Hungary, Romania, Austria, Bulgaria, Finland, Croatia, Slovenia, and the Czech Republic, which is a protectorate of Bohemia and Moravia during the war. We stand with all the brave warriors and good souls of the country R and the good people in the U. There's all kinds of evidence about this scandal with JB. No biggie, right? A school bus crashed into a house. Okay, that's the video was made. A video about the virus in 1956. Hundreds in England and Wales left without energy. Matt Gates, introduces resolution to deny Adam S. access to classified information, titled Preventing Extreme Negligence with Classified Information Licenses Resolution, or the pencil resolution. Okay, here's a post. United Airlines to Guantanamo Bay. What airline check-in counter is located in E? Was the location of E? Picture posted on other board. Why is this relevant? February 11th, 2018. What airline? E? Are they saying Europe? Is E Europe? England? No, I don't have the camera. I wish, Kenny. I'm not using the camera. I'm using the computer right now. I'm like fit to be tied over this camera. I just can't. You know, I just ordered a new lens. He said, you just put on a new lens. Everything will be okay. I put on the new lens and it still sucks. But, you know, I'll figure it out. It's a good camera. I'm sure there's a way to do it. Yeah, you know, everything happens. Everything happens for a reason. I found John Bolton to be one of the dumbest people in government, but I am proud to say I used him well. A total and unhinged warmonger, the red-faced boiler ready to explode, was one of the very stupid voices that got us into the Middle East quicksand. $7 trillion and millions of deaths later, nothing. The good news is that I won big negotiations with this moron by my side. When I brought him into a room with hostile foreign leaders, they thought I was going to war. Conceded all. So Mr. T just brought old JB along with him, Mr. Bolt, and people figured, you know, he's a warmonger. So they were ready to give it up. A dollar collapse is now in motion. Saudi Arabia signals the end of the petro status. All the while, the mainstream media and government economists will say they have no idea why inflation is so persistent and that nobody could have seen it coming. Yeah, I mean, I have a mainstream information source of what I looked when I look at the stock market. Let me just check it for a second. And okay, let me check this. Oh, it's coming back up. So today, I guess, is not FRY day. It has to come down soon, man. I mean, you know, how long can they keep this guy JB as the acting POTUS? I don't know. It's certainly out of my hands, that's for sure. Okay, so dollar collapse, yeah. So they have no idea, the mainstream people, no idea why inflation is so bad. No idea at all. You know, could be 1,000 different things, right? Couldn't be that the currency is nothing behind it and they've been printing outrageous amounts in the last couple of years. Nah, probably not much to do with it, but nothing happens in the narrative building randomly. I don't know if he's talking about the good guy narrative or the bad guy narrative. Okay. Roger Stone reports that this evening, Judge whatever dismissed all counts against me in a civil suit filed by 8 members of the U.S. Capitol Police based on the events of January 6, in which I had no involvement beyond the exercise of my First Amendment rights. SGAnon reports to our Canadian brothers and sisters, you also, are in a continuity of government situation, though much less optically dramatic than the U.S. one. Check out the dental comparison of Justin Castro with actor Justin Castro. Keep the faith, patriots. We have more than we know. These idiots wouldn't have doubles and actors playing roles for submission if they were winning. They aren't. Nothing can stop us. Dumbs. They found food and drink hidden by the bad guys for consumption that would feed the whole world for the next 150 years. 14.2 billion tons of high-quality food. They have been analyzed. The samples did not contain toxic substances that are normally released to the regular folks. Breaking, U.S. Special Forces carried out a raid on the 25th of January, killing a top leader of ISIS in Africa. Bilal al-Sudani was killed in a successful raid in Somalia, including his other associates. Sudani was active in Afghanistan, then shifted to Somalia, also becoming a key financier in the ISIS organization. 5.9 earthquake hits Kermadec Island, New Zealand. Horrifying lecture proves radical left is working to normalize things with kids. The IRS issued an alert to taxpayers on Tuesday, reminding them that they must report all digital asset income and answer to a new digital asset questions on their 2022 federal tax return, or face consequences such as delayed funding or even penalties. Wow. U.S. Army opened a military base in Guam Island in the Pacific Ocean. This base was open for possible conflict with China. U.S. Senator Marco Rubio, Republican of Florida, sent a letter to Albert Bourla, the president and CEO of the drug company that starts with a PF, following the release of video showing that they were doing this to make money. Senator Ron Johnson on Thursday called for Congress to investigate the use of these things, man. Yeah, imagine that. Really? Oh, dear frogs, let's see what today has in store for us. Let's stay alert and united. Check your provisions and go over your emergency plan with your family. Love and night to all. Mar, that is Maryland Chambers. That's what they're signing it. Everybody in the room has some amount of sexual interest in little ones. I mean, do you? I don't. I mean, that's not. I don't think it's normal. I hate to say it, guys. I hate to say the elites pop your bubble, but man, it's not. I don't think everyone has this. I think only you sicko elite people have it. I don't know what it is. I mean, I know one guy in my. I know there are people in my community who have it. The one guy that I know, his father is in an elite corporation. And they've absolutely crucified this kid. This kid has been, I mean, you know, if God forbid you're not an elite and you do these things, they destroy this kid's life. He's one of the nicest people I've ever known. Sweetheart. And they have completely destroyed his life for what he, you know, I'm not saying what he did wasn't horrific, but he's not doing what these people are doing. He's doing nothing like what they're doing. And they threw the book at this kid. This poor kid can't do anything. destroyed his family. You know, it's just, you know, at some point it's just it's they think it's normal. They really they want to normalize it. They want to make it like it's okay, man. It's normal. It's totally normal. I've heard people say stuff like that, like, you know, it's not that big a deal. It's just your kid. I mean, I'm like, what? You know, I'm sorry. You know, they apparently I saw a column yesterday that said they arrested 10,000 of these boogers last year in 2020. 10,000 people are now, I assume, are in jail safely away from the little ones. I mean, if you can't have innocence in the world, if a woman can't walk down the street without feeling afraid that somebody could attack her, I mean, women are like as scared as children. I mean, children, you know, it's you know, we're coming out of this, though. I mean, that's the good news is it's over. This whole system is over. You know, when I look this way, all I see is boxes, like rectangular shaped buildings with little windows for people to be imprisoned in. And then when I look out this way, I see God's world. There needs to be a fusion of the two systems, and that's where we're heading. We're going to have beautiful living places. It's going to be amazing how beautiful and how, like I said last night, how comfortable it's going to feel, how comfortable our lives are going to be. It's going to be amazing. But we have to go through this period. We have to go through this little patch of darkness, a big patch of darkness, and get rid of these evil players. Can you imagine enough food, healthy food for 150 years? While we eat poison, no biggie, you know, they're just people, poison them, you know, they don't know any better, you know. Wow. So this is why, to put this in perspective, this is why God, source, allowed the reptile to get into our DNA in the Garden of Eden, because Adam is so sweet. Adam was a sweetheart, man. He was totally with God. He was totally tripping out. He was like in nirvana all the time. I was like, what, you know, he didn't even know he existed separate of God. God, you know, until he ate from the fruit of the tree of knowledge, he didn't even know he was naked. He was just blissed out, man. He was like, he didn't think about that stuff. And then God had to say, where are you? You know, and he's like, you know, he became separate. He thought he was separate. I mean, this is all an illusion. We're not really separate from God. We are one. We are completely one with God. There's no separation. But God allows us to believe that's the game here. That's the Monopoly rules. You know, you read the rules for Monopoly. You have friends who know how to play it. But the rules here are like, you're going to feel like you're separate. And then you have to discover me. So by putting the bad guy DNA into Adam, we had to learn to transform that evil inclination but use that power, that force, that energy to do good stuff, to do godly stuff, to build a godly world where we don't need courts and laws and lawyers and policemen. We won't need any of that, because it'll be a godly world. You're like, you want me to do what? You're like, we don't do that here. We don't hurt people. We don't do that. That's not God. That's not a godly thing. I mean, it won't even be a question. You'll be like, you'll be looking at somebody would bring up. I mean, you want me to do what? To hurt? You might want to steal. You want me to steal from another person? I mean, it'll be like inconceivable. To even steal a crumb from another human being will be just like, I don't know what you're talking about. I never heard of such a thing. You know. But that's what we're coming into. We're coming into a godly world where none of this stuff is going to go down anymore. They've just been keeping it so well hidden. I have my little things, man. I'm You know, I'm rolling the financial dice this month, man. I'm like, I'm betting it all, man. I'm betting the big bucks that I'll get through this somehow. But I'm not looking back. You know, I'm not going to be like Lot's wife. I'm like Nachshon. I'm just like, God, man, I'm putting it all in, man. You know, I'm rolling the dice. So YouTube's cut me off for a couple of weeks. I'll get through it. I'm not worried. But I still want to keep my my stuff. I mean, if you have any interest in the Purium, you know, if you think at all, you know, it would be helpful, you know, I think to build, you know, I'm trying to build other revenue sources so I don't have to worry about YouTube all the time. And I think we're heading in a good direction. I think we're heading in a really good direction, but it could take a little bit of it could take time. It's okay, you know. Or, you know, I love, you know, I'm so happy. I just love this. Anyway, even taking the big bets. I mean, it's not even it's not even an issue. It's not even like I don't lose 1 minute. I don't worry about it for 1 second. It's just like YouTube wants to do that. I'm like, okay, we'll be fine. God has my back. I know God has my back. God has all of our backs. We're doing holy work right now. Whether or not you don't have to call yourself a holy roller or any of that stuff. We are bringing godliness to the planet, period. And God's going to back you, man. I just, you know, but we don't want to rely on miracles. So remember, we're in this week's Chumash, in this week's Torah. We're in the story of the plague, the last 3 plagues. This is it, man. And then next week, Beshelach, we go free. We're off. We're sent off. He sends us off. He says, get out of here, man. Don't bother me. Paro, you know, we killed off all the firstborn died, and Paro goes, later, baby. I don't want to see you guys ever again. He says to Moses, I never want to see your face again. And Moses says, don't worry, you never will. And that's what's really going down. I mean, I really think that the Torah can be used as a template for reality. So we're going into the midbar. Next week, we deal with the splitting of the sea. Next week, we're dealing with the splitting of the sea. Right? Parshas Bo. We'll be in a new month. Beshalach, and then Yisro, man, Jethro. I can't believe they call him Jethro. That just sounds so corny. It sounds like the Beverly Hillbillies. Yisro. Yisro. This is of critical importance to all people to know that the Torah could not be given until Jethro. You want to call him Jethro? I find it. Think of like the Beverly Hillbillies. I'm just like, I can't. Yisro. Yisro was a non-Jew. The Jews could not receive the Torah until Yisro came and hung out. He was the biggest bad boy in the world. He was in all kinds of weird stuff. But until he came, until this non-Jewish person came, they could not receive the Torah. And he helped his son-in-law, Moses, do stuff. He said to Moses, man, you can't judge everyone yourself. But if you think for 1 second that the Jews and the Christians and the Muslims and the Buddhists and the non-committed and everybody else don't need each other, you are insane. And if you're in one of those groups and you go, man, I ain't hanging out with those people, you're missing the point. I don't know. I know I'm singing to the choir. I know you guys are on the same page as me. That's why you're here. I'm not yelling at you guys. I'm just yelling at the world. They need to get over it. I mean, listen, I find myself, you know, sometimes I open my eyes. The people in my building are all, they're not the same color as me. I could give a shit. I prefer, I mean, I hate to say I'm a racist, but I'm very comfortable around people of a different color than me. I've been around them for 20 years. I taught them. I lived with them. I lived in neighborhoods with them. People say, oh, you're going into that neighborhood. I'm like, yeah, so what? No one's going to hurt me. No one is going to hurt me. I don't even, you know, it's like insurance. I don't need, I know how to talk to people. If you talk to people like a human being, they're not going to hurt you. You say, yeah, hey, man, you know, it's Shabbos. I don't carry any money anyway. I'm really sorry. You know, if I had money, I would give it to you, you know, but nobody even hits me up for money. The only people that hit me up in the hood are people that know me and are like, hey, Webbs, man, can you loan me, you know? And I'm like, yeah, of course, you know. And I'm not yelling at you guys. I'm yelling at the world, man. I mean, it's just, it's so obvious that the elites want us all to hate each other. They want to say, you know, that we're all racist, we're all this, we're all that. It's just a bunch of nonsense. We're loving creatures. They had to inject a little bit of reptilian into us to get us to like wake up and like do stuff. You know, Adam was just like blissed at it. Like God was like, man, you know, what am I going to do with this guy? I'll never leave home. He's going to be like, you know, he'll be like 60 years old. He'll be living in the basement, you know, and like partying with Eve all the time. You know, it's like, I got to wake this guy up and make him, you know, get him out there and, right. He'll join, you know what they're finding, all these Antifa people. They're all rich kids, man. They're all rich white kids from privileged families. You know, he didn't want Adam to grow up like that. He was like, man, let's shoot him up with some reptile blood, man. Wake him up. It took us a couple thousand years to like deal with it. But it's you know, we're ready now. We're ready to walk into the Garden of Eden. We're ready to go to the Promised Land. That's even in Torah. We're coming into Parshas Jethro, if you want to call it Jethro. I mean, and then it's like, no more fun and games. It's all build the temple, build the Mishkan in the desert. You know, you need some new, you got to get the trees that Yaakov planted in Israel. You need the silver cups. You got to like start building, man. You got stuff to do. And then we're coming into Passover and Purim. On the real calendar, we're coming into Passover and Purim. Purim, the greatest miracle of all, where God does not appear even once in the Megillah. God is never mentioned in the Megillah. Everything, all the miracles take place within nature. It's all like, he said this, and the king had a dream, and the other guy, you know, like the story of Joseph, really. Joseph in jail. Amazing. It's just amazing. You know, it's just amazing. I mean, I'm totally digging where everything is going, and I just like, I couldn't think of a better way to spend the early middle part of my life. Maybe it's early part. I don't know. Maybe I'm like chronologically around. I don't know. But anyway, it's never too late to have a happy childhood. Yes, you know what? That's a very big issue, Marilee, and I want people to know how to get these calendars. I sent one to one of the prominent Telegram channelists. Her name was The Real Something Shady. I sent her a calendar. Everyone, Jew and non-Jew, should have one of these calendars. How do you get them? I think my community, man. Sometimes I get so frustrated with these guys. You know, the Rebbe was like, get out there in the world, spread the word, man. Mashiach is coming. Mashiach is Mashiach is here. They just want to. Anyway, I'm not going there. Okay, so how do you get this calendar? It's a very, very, very important question because everybody should have this calendar. This is the best calendar. Okay, so this is what I mean. I would like if I was a little more established as a in my like I don't have an organization. I mean, people say, "Oh, just ask somebody in your organization." I don't have an organization. It's me and Shaquille, and now it's some guys from Nepal. It's me and the Indian continent. That's my organization. But if I had an organization, or if somebody here would want to undertake such a project, it's really not a big deal. But it would require, sending things out. I mean, it's physical. We're not used to dealing with physical, well, we are. If you're Amazon, they're used to dealing it. Okay, so I'm not answering the question. How do you get this calendar? I think the way to do it, there's a store called Judaica World on Kingston Avenue in Crown Heights. I think, and somebody try this and let us know, let the community know what they say, because they can be obstinate. I hate to say it, but my people can be, even in Torah, they say we are a stiff-necked people. They can be really, really stubborn and small-minded about things when they want to be. It even says it in Torah, so I'm not blasphemizing my peeps. But somebody try to call Judaica World, or contact them online and tell them you want the if I was more established, I would put out my own calendar. I would buy my own calendar and give it, send it out to you guys. But I'm not. This is called the Jewish Art Calendar for 2022 to 2023. The Jewish Art Calendar, called Judaica World, on Kingston Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. Crown Heights, Brooklyn, New York. It's 5783. That's the year in the Jewish calendar. And it has everything, man. It has the moon phase. It tells you when the holidays are. It tells you a little bit about what happened to, which Rebbe got arrested and when, and, why and what happened. It tells you when Purim is. It tells you when the fast days are. It tells you when Shabbos begins. Tells you when you can put on tefillin in the morning, which I didn't do yet. I got involved. So, yeah, the Jewish Art Calendar, it is the best calendar. See if anyone has any success. Do not be intimidated by these people. They sound rough on the phone. I know how my peeps are, man. I know how the Yidden are. They can sound tough, and do not be afraid of these people. They're just regular folks. It's just like people are afraid of people with dark skin. I mean, like, if you're afraid of a person with dark skin, they might bark at you because they can tell you're afraid. But I'm not. I'm like, I'm more comfortable with that. I'm more comfortable with the African American community than when I am with my own Jewish community. To be honest with you, I know the language. I'm a Baal Shuv. I came to this late in life. I got religious, 25 years ago, so I wasn't born with it. I don't feel as comfortable with religious people. Sometimes they're insane. A lot of times, whereas black peeps, man, I'm like, yeah, man, here's the deal. They understand. They understand people. They understand how to relate to people. Sometimes my peeps don't. because they're so frightened, you know, to get outside the community. That's why the Rebbe recruited me, man. The Rebbe brought me here to be like the bridge asset between different communities and to get the job going, man. Bring Mashiach. That's what it's all about, man. Bring the new age. That's what this is all about. The Rebbe brought me here, man. I was sitting in Tennessee with a really hot woman, having a really generally pretty good time. And the Rebbe said, nah. He says, you're coming to Brooklyn, man. You're going to do without all the things that you really value for 20 years. I'm going to make something out of you. You'll get your ass kicked every way but loose. You know, you're going to get everything. Your employer's going to treat you like dog. Your wife's going to treat you like dirt. You're going to have it. You're going to go through it all, man. And you're going to come out. I mean, that's the way God does. And it's a gift. I'm not complaining, but get the Jewish art calendar. It's definitely worth it. But I'm just saying, do not be afraid of anyone. You know, that's what the Baal Shem Tov, he's the behind all of this. He was the first holy man. That he's the guy who walked on water in Europe in the mid 1700s. His father died when he was like 3 years old, or I think 3 or 5 or something, like 3 years old, and he was orphaned. And his father told him, "Fear no man, just God. Just be afraid of God, man. Don't be afraid of anybody." And so don't be afraid. Don't be afraid if these guys bark on you when you're asking for the calendar. Say, well, how do I get it? How can I get a decent friggin' calendar, man? You know, I live in North Dakota. I don't deserve it to have a decent calendar. Another way to get the calendar is if from your local Chabad house. And you could go to Chabad.org and maybe contact somebody there. And I'm not disparaging my peeps. I mean, I love Jewish people, but they can be scary. They can scare you. Like I said, I prayed in a place for 10 years before anybody even said hello to me. And now they're calling me up. They're like, Ellie, where are you? Come back, come back. I'm like, man, I mean, I was there, you know, I did my thing. I got to move on. I'm constantly changing. The Rebbe, they said, was never the same person 2 days in a row. We're always changing. We have to change. We have to grow and grow and grow and change and grow and reach out and try new things. Okay, so yeah, so get your Jewish art calendar. Call the community. So what I'm saying, the other way is to call your local Chabad house. Go to Chabad, C-H-A, let me write it down. And if you're not Jewish, so what? You tell the rabbi, man, I'm not Jewish, but I listen to Eli Weber, KABBALAHguru, every day, and he says we should have a Chabad calendar. And also he said, this is your job, Rabbi, to help non-Jews. The Rebbe said so. So it's Chabad.org. Go to Chabad.org and put in your zip code and find the nearest Chabad house and call the rabbi and say, you've got to have an art calendar. You need a Jewish art calendar from Crown Heights. He'll know exactly because he comes from Crown Heights. Anyone out in the world, anyone who's running a Chabad house anywhere in the world, from Hawaii to China, they all come from Crown Heights, and they all know what this art calendar is, and they will give you one, or they will tell you how to get one. And you could go to them if you and push them. And go to them and tell them, teach me the Noahide laws. I'm a non-Jew. The Rebbe said you're supposed to teach me the Noahide laws. Go to them and say, yes, we'll give you a donation. If you will, I mean, they're hard pressed for money, man. They're out in the world. They don't have any money. They're completely reliant. They are frogs. They are fully reliant on God. The people who are from Crown Heights who run these Chabad houses, they're holy dudes. I mean, I don't mean to say they're not. They're very holy, and they're completely reliant on people's contributions. So they're out in the world, and they're really struggling. They're the real deal holy people because they you know, they have nothing. They have no backups. They have no, you know, rich guy in the corner. I mean, they get some donations, but you know how expensive things are. But anyway, if you support them and you tell them, you know, I want to have a club for non-Jews to learn the Noahide laws, and could you help me? I forget. Somebody told me they're afraid to do that for some reason. I can't remember what it is. But anyway, just push them, man. You know, the Rebbe said these guys are out in the world, so not just for Jewish people. Yes, to find the lost Jews, because a lot of Jews don't want to like associate with religious organizations, but non-Jews are just as we are all important. We must have each other. And I'm going to say one last thing, and then I'll go back to Intel. If non-Jews, they say, if the non-Jews knew how good it would be for them, for us to rebuild the temple and teach and learn and teach people the Noahide laws, which are not a watered down version of the Ten Commandments. It's not related to the Ten Commandments. It's a totally different set of laws. But if you're a non-Jew and you follow the Noahide laws, you're considered a righteous Gentile, and you don't have a problem living amongst Jews, and Jews have no problem living amongst you. It's only the Kabbalah. It's only the 13 bloodline families from the V that separate us. It's not natural for us to be. I mean, you know, at the bodega where I used to live, Abdul would be like, "Cuz, man, what's going on, man? You know, let's, you know," I couldn't go by his bodega because he tried to give me free things all the time. I'm like, Abdul, man, I can't take from you. It's the bread of shame. It doesn't make me feel good to take to a seat. You know, he was just like, "Come on," he says, "Cuz, take a water, take this, take," you know, I mean, there's no problem between peeps. It's the problem is an artificial one made by the reptilians, who are more reptilian than we are. Anyway, yeah, so do not be afraid of nervous Jewish people. And you can tell him kabbalahguru sent you. Say Ellie Weber sent you. He's from Crown Heights too now. I mean, I lived there for 20 years, man. I got the scars to prove it, right? You know, I got the tattoos and the scars to prove I did almost over 20 years in Crown Heights, man. I paid my dues, man. I'm finally liberated, man. I now get to sit by the ocean and go into the next transmutation of consciousness for me, doing what I'm led to do. I mean, I'm totally fully reliant on God as well, and God leads me where He wants me to go. And you know, the Lord is my shepherd; I shall not lack. He leads me beside still waters. Right? I mean, they're not always so still, but tranquil waters. I always thought I was going to end up in a basement, man. You know, Gila said, you don't have to live like a refugee. You don't have to live like a refugee. We don't, man. We don't have to live like refugees. You can have whatever you need now. You can radiate with the quantum energy of plenty, and it will come. It can't not come. It has to come. That's why I'm not worried about rolling the dice, man. I mean, the same time I was talking to my friend in Nepal, and I put a lot of money into investing in the channel. Everything I earned, a lot of what I earned from last month from YouTube, I put it back into the channel. And at the same time I was talking to him, I clicked on my YouTube channel and I found out that we just took you down for 2 weeks. So is that not a message from God? I mean, if I had called my friend afterwards, I would have said, you know, I can't really do this week. I mean, this month, my channel was just taken down. I don't know if I'm going to have money this month. But, you know, God wanted it that way. God wants me. He knows what I have to do. I know what I have to do. And I've been involved in hashgacha pratis. I've been involved in divine providence. I get messages and I just like, okay, man, you want me to go over there? I don't know why. You know, if it doesn't make sense to me, I'm not asking questions, but I know that I have to go over there, and I do it because I'm experienced. I've been doing this for many, many years. I've been following my the next best place. You know, I just follow my lead, man. You don't think about it. You don't have to think about it. And you know, there are people in many different communities who would tell me what you're doing is completely insane. What, you left a job you didn't want to just because of this? I mean, it's an amazing world. It's a godly world. We're just, see, the whole thing is that we are creating this reality, you and me right now, the 433 of us that are still on the channel because they took down the regular channel. We are creating a quantum energy that cannot be stopped. Look, in the old days, they had to meet in basements and churches. They had 12 people and they would meet a few more. And eventually they'd make it up to like 50 people. We have 428 people right now. And another 50,000 when we get our channel back. This is huge. This is a massive movement. It doesn't, you know, that guy said it doesn't, you don't need 80% of humanity. You only need 3%. So what we're doing here, Jews and non-Jews and everybody else in between and non-religious and whatever, all coming together and saying, kumbaya, man, we got this. And we are agreed that we are coming into a new reality. And not only are we willing to step into this new reality, but we are the ones who are creating it. That's what I've been talking about, the news. The kind of news that we'll hear in the future is like, well, there's one timeline that's shifting in this direction, and then there's another timeline of, you know, we'll be in a quantum reality. It'll be so cool. We'll be creating constant creation. It'll just be, you'll be in a, like the hyper tube of reality. You'll be like, I live here, man. I live in this place where I'm like completely, the weather, man. I didn't go out yesterday because it was so windy. I mean, I live in God's world, even though I'm in a you know, high rise in a supposedly a bad neighborhood. Sweetest people, the neighbors I've met so far. I mean, you know, guy I met this morning in the elevator. I met him once before. He just moved in. He moved in after me. Dresses like a gangster. He wears he's you know, he's hood. He's, you know, I know because I taught high school. I know certain colors. I know the way they dress. I know that if you're a gangster, you wear a certain color. So you know, I know. Sweetest guy. I said, what do you do for a living? I thought he was going to say, I sell infinities, or, you know, I don't know what. He says, I'm a nurse, man. He's taking care of people. It's a sweetheart, just the sweetest, most gentle person you could ever see. Is he dressed like a gangster? Yeah. So what? You know, I got my own gangster stuff, man. I got this like black skull cap, man. I got my own, what do they call it? My own, there's a word for it. I can't think of it offhand, but I mean, my own set. I got my own set. You know, that's in this high school. What set are you in? I'm like, I'm with the Yidden, man. I got my set, man. You know, I'm a gangster. You know, we got this, and not like they're telling you with the Khazarian thing. That's a bunch of BS. They're associating that with Jewish people is insane. You know, and not even mentioning the 13, you know, there was a big, okay, so I missed all this good intel. But okay, so here's the next thing. Who's near Fort Lauderdale? I'll give you a hint. The umbrella is the military. operation and continuity of government. So let's just take a few examples with Paraguay, who just landed in Fort Lauderdale. How come the dot military and government official military articles never mention JB? Perhaps because the military doesn't recognize him as the CIC, perhaps. Well, what do we have here? The U.S. was a federal corporation, and foreign investors were a major source of credit to the U.S. during the first half of the 19th century. Who's letting the truth out now? Interesting. Okay, here's a drop. Note the last drops on the other board. Think logically. Refer to past crumbs. You have more than you know. Do you expect HRC, GS, OB, BO to stand in a public courtroom with potential crooked judges and tainted liberal loonies, juries? How do you defuse a bomb? Knowledge of which wire strings to cut. Okay, so it has to be done this way. Here's a post from our leader. Oh, that's about JB, John. Didn't I read that about John Bolton? Yeah. Okay. Now, the thing that I wanted to say also is like this, in terms of our community. And, how I'll tell you, like, okay, we're doing this now, we're doing that, and everything is constantly changing. And I tell you one thing and I do another, and it's like, so my plan for now, and I don't know if it's going to work out because it's all tested by God. God steers us the way we want to be steered. My plan at this point is like this. I am going to be feeding my guys from Nepal all my videos. They're going to do all my video editing. It's going to save me a lot of time. It's like an hour, at least an hour a day of real headache, of real tedious work. It's going to be out of my hands. What does that mean? What I think it means, to me anyway, is that I am going to be making videos that are going to not really appeal to you so much anymore. My short videos are not going to be, I'm not dealing with patriots anymore. I'm not dealing with these people. I mean, no disrespect, but it's like, we all know stuff. You guys all know. Now, I am going to continue doing the live broadcast with you guys. We're going to have our relationship no matter what. I do this twice a day, and we're going to go over the intel because I need to go over the intel anyway. And I love being with you guys. But the public videos that I seem to be, what I seem to want to do now, what God seems to be telling me could be a good idea, is to put out some very basic information that the normies don't get. They don't know that the stock market, they don't know that everything's about to crash and that it's a good thing. They don't know that, that the medical thing happened and it's going down the tubes and it's a good thing. They don't know that the government's going to be 10% of the size. They've never heard of Nasara. So I'm going to be making videos with my brothers from Nepal, and they've already invited me to come. I believe me, I would love to go to Nepal. I would love to, but I'm here. That God put me here, and this is my post, and I'm not leaving voluntarily. I really don't like to travel. I really like to be in my seat of my power, just like Paro did. But just know that, like, yeah, everything is changing. But so where does this leave you guys? So it really puts you in the position of being more involved. Like, in other words, you'll be taking my place, kind of. Like, we're all moving up in the world, sort of. Like, you will be holding up the end. You will be spreading the reality that we've all learned together in the last couple of years. The reality that everything is happening for good, that this is the era of Mashiach, of Messiah, that this is the Great Awakening, that we're all going to come into a situation of comfort and joy. So we will still meet together always, but publicly, you guys, if whatever you can do to step up to the plate to spread that message. I'm not saying you have to start with YouTube channels, but we've been together long enough. The deal. You know where to look for intel. I mean, it's all on Telegram. It's all. I'm looking at. I can't even. I still don't know how to pronounce the name, but I think it's Tyranne or Tyrannier or something like that. Let the unsealing begin. Let the declass begin. Let the world witness the truth. We, the people, justice under the law. Yeah, Vlad is talking about, what happened in 1943. I mean, they signed a paper that said if they ever become ends again, we can go right back in and smack them any which way but loose. Are the bad boys preparing for a nuclear war? Absolutely. They're just stockpiling medicine. It's not going to happen, but they're going to scare us into it. Operation is intricately massive and complex. However, the general premise is fairly easy if one will read, study, apply the blueprint. I cannot make anyone read, but I definitely cannot make anyone understand. Right. It's all, the plan is pretty simple. Anyway, I better get ready for Shabbos because I want to go to the grocery store, and I have to do over my video. I did it, and I did it with my camera, and it just, and I have to get a hold of B&H to ask them how to redo my camera. But anyway, Manly Peel, yeah, I've seen some of his work. Knoxville, Blount County, nice. Yeah, don't get caught into this. Don't get caught into anything. Just keep going forward, man. Nothing can stop what's coming. We got this. So I will see you guys Saturday night. I know I went off on a couple tangents today, but you don't need me really for intel anymore. I mean, we do. We need each other. And I listen, I'm not going to stop doing intel, but people got to know that we're coming into like an amazing era. This is not to be, people are upset. They're scared. We're freaked out. It's like, it's just the opposite. Hey, Chosen. Oh, gosh. Cooksville. All right, guys. I love you. Yeah, we got each other, man. And we're getting through this. I mean, we're coming. There's going to be something going down soon. It has to happen soon because they can't keep this guy, this actor, whoever he is. He can't be doing this forever, sniffing little girls' hair and everything else. They can't keep this charade up much longer. All right, guys. Yeah, I will enjoy Shabbos. I'm going to have a nice, peaceful Shabbos by myself, which is probably I mean, I love having my son around, but he's a little bit high maintenance, compared to what I'm used to when I'm just by myself. So I just chill, man. I get sit in front of the window. Maybe I'll go for a walk on the beach. All right, guys, I love you, and we will. Cooksville last year, yeah, Tennessee is awesome. Okay, guys, with your dogs, that's nice. Super peaceful, yeah. I mean, there's nothing like a solo Shabbos in my book. I mean, I love this. Okay, we'll see you Saturday night, God willing, and just buckle up, buttercups, man. Who knows what's going to go down? But we're in it for the long haul, and it's going to be good. Okay, bye.